So how do you get rich owning a franchise? Well, take this guy Dan as an example. He built a $20 million a year franchise business in the plumbing business, which is absolutely crazy. He owns multiple houses. He owns 8 acres in Costa Rica, and he's getting ready to build a health spa there. And then take this guy Jeff, who owns a $12 million a year franchise empire, owning franchises in the heating and air conditioning space, the electrical space, and in the plumbing space. So here's the common theme. In order to get rich owning franchises, you'll need to own multiple locations or multiple territories with the franchise. So how do you do that? Unless you have a ton of money and you're able to go out there and open up like a McDonald's or Taco Bell or one of those franchises that are incredibly established that'll likely, as soon as you open it, do millions of dollars a year in sales, and they have a long waiting list anyways, and I'm just assuming and guessing, I could be wrong guys, but I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you probably don't have $2 million to invest in a McDonald's franchise. If you do, kudos, but maybe you don't like McDonald's. So let's talk about how you actually get rich owning a franchise. So if you want to actually get rich owning a franchise, you'll need to own multiple locations or multiple territories. Now, how do you do that? That's exactly what I'm going to go into in this video. We're going to talk about what type of industries to get involved in, as well as how you actually come up with the money to open up these franchise locations so you can get rich. Now, before we jump into that, what does it even mean to be rich? I mean, the term being rich is a pretty broad term. So for the purpose of this video, let's actually define what rich means. Well, according to this study by Charles Schwab, surveying a bunch of people in the US, you would need to have about a $2.3 million net worth to be considered rich, or you'd have to be earning about $300,000 a year in income. Now, $2.3 million is a lot of money. $300,000 in income is a lot of money, but let's face it, that's not unrealistic. I mean, that's not like saying you have to have $10 million, $15 million, you got to make $1 million a year. Those are attainable numbers. I know it's challenging and it'll likely be difficult. So the question is, how do you build a $2.3 million net worth? How do you make at least $300,000 a year owning franchise locations? And imagine, just consider yourself for a second where your situation, where your income is. Imagine if you had $2.3 million. And imagine if you were making $300,000 a year in income. What type of lifestyle could and would you be living? I mean, how does that affect your family, your quality of life, the vacations that you go on, the house that you live in, the car that you drive, the clothes that you wear, how much you're able to give back to your community, your church, your religious organization, the things that are important to you. So the question becomes, how can you attain this with a franchise? Let's jump in. Guys, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Tariq Johnson. I built a multi-million-dollar franchise business with locations in California and in Florida, selling juice and smoothies. Man, what a ride. I recently sold one of my locations, and it's been a really exciting journey. So I do enjoy talking about franchises. I enjoy talking about business and how that can impact your life and add to your financial success and your financial freedom. So what I would love is that you subscribe to the channel. I post videos all about franchises, all about owning businesses, and how you can create more wealth and financial freedom through business ownership. Also, hit the little like button below. It helps so much for the YouTube algorithm. So when you hit that little like button, just that little effort of just going tap, it actually shows this video to more and more people. Also, drop me a comment below and tell me, what is your definition of rich? What does being rich mean to you? Is it a certain level of income? Is it a certain level of money in the bank? Is it a certain feeling? Is it driving a certain car? Drop me a comment below. Tell me what rich means to you. All right, so here's the number one thing, which is this is the foundation to getting rich with a franchise, and really it's the foundation to getting rich with any sort of business, which is you have to be resourceful, okay? So, and again, guys, stick with me here because this is the most important part of the video, because I'll give you all the strategy in a little bit, but if you don't have this foundational part down, then the strategy won't ever work for you. Like, you won't put the strategy to work and you won't be able to make it happen. So you gotta be resourceful, right? Which is, you don't necessarily have to have a ton of money in order to start opening up franchises. The one that my wife and I opened was about $300,000 to get open. But there are franchises that you can open for as little as a few $1,000s. And even if you don't have a few $1,000s, you might be able to borrow it from friends or family. Maybe you have it in your 401k and you can take out a loan on your 401k. Maybe you can take an advance out on your credit card. You can get a loan. You can get a home equity line of credit. You can sell some of your possessions that you have in your house. I'm sure you got things sitting around that you're not using that you might be able to sell. The point of this is that it's never about having the money, right? It's not about the resources. It's about how resourceful you are to find the money to be able to go start the business or start the franchise that you're looking to start. Because here's the reality. Most entrepreneurs, so many entrepreneurs that I know, they didn't have the money either. They figured out a way to get the money. Like one of my really good friends who built a $10 million a year company, at one point he had borrowed some money from his girlfriend at the time, who wound up turning out to be their wife, and he used it to start one of their first businesses. They own a $10 million a year business now, and I'll tell you, they're doing really well. Michael Dell, who started Dell Computers, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. Guys, these are some people that they had to borrow money from friends and family to start their business or have their business continue to operate. So it's important that you're resourceful. And as an example, I recently started working with this one coaching client, and he wants to leave his job. So we talked about some different funding options that he could use. And all of a sudden I get an email like, I think I'm gonna put a pause. The one funding option that I was looking at, it doesn't seem like it's gonna work out. And I'm like, what? Put a pause? Look, just because one avenue closes, you gotta look for another avenue. I mean, if you're gonna start pausing and giving up and stopping at the very first challenge when it comes to opening a business or starting a franchise, like, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. So you have to be resourceful. You gotta be resourceful. It's the absolute foundation of this video. But now let's get into the really, really good stuff of how you can actually get rich owning franchise. All right, so once you get resourceful and you get the funding for your business, you need to make sure you're getting into the right business. As an example, my wife and I, we took out $300,000 out of our house. We used that to open our first location. We did over $30,000 in sales our second month open at that location and became profitable that month. So within 2 months of being open, we became profitable. Now keep in mind, at the time, my wife had her successful business. I was still working as a financial advisor, and now we had this new business that was generating profit and more income from us. And I actually documented that whole process and journey. I created a 23-page guide for you so that you can use exactly what I did to create a successful business or a successful franchise yourself. So make sure you go get it, because it's completely free and it's a game changer. It will lay out step by step exactly how you can start any business and make it profitable in less than 2 months. I'll leave a link down below where you can go get it, or you can just go to my website, tariqjohnson.com. It pops up right away. And then you'll be able to download it, get it right away, make sure you read it, and then actually take the action steps. But here's one of the keys in getting rich with owning a franchise is you want to get into a scalable business. So we opened up the juice bar, and we didn't have to be there all day. We had a staff, we had a team, and we could continue to grow our sales with our team. It was a pretty simple to run business. We did almost $500,000 a year in sales our very first year in business. So you want to open up a scalable business that either your sales can continue to grow and scale and scale and scale and get bigger and bigger within that company, or you can scale and open up more locations that as you open up more locations, your profit margins wind up benefiting from the fact that you're opening up more and more locations. as an example, if you're opening up a McDonald's, which you would need, again, somewhere between $1 to $2 million to get a McDonald's open, and you're making around a 15 or 20% profit margin, well, I mean, that puts you in a pretty good position, but it's tough to make it happen with just one location, and most people don't just have $1 million or $2 million sitting around to get that sort of business open. So the best way that you get rich, again, is by buying and scaling. Think about it. It's kind of like real estate. Like a lot of people that start off with real estate investing, they may buy a house that maybe is only $50,000, $75,000. They buy that house, they fix it up, they sell it. Now they make money and they take those profits and then they reinvest it. And then they buy a bigger house where they can make more money. And then they reinvest those profits again and get another house that's even more expensive, and so on and so forth. So let's say, as an example, you decide to open up a franchise location. And let's just say, for easy sake, let's say you decide to do a plumbing franchise, just like good old Dan did and built a $20 million business. And let's say that you need $100,000 to get fully up and running and operating. So that probably means a couple of vehicles, it means hiring staff. You don't need to know anything about plumbing because you're going to hire plumbers that know about plumbing and that have that education. So let's say it's $100,000 to get into the business. And so let's say you're going to finance the business. And let's say you put about $25,000 down. So you put $25,000 down, you get a $75,000 loan, and you open the business for $100,000. And then, let's say, reasonably speaking, you get the business to do $500,000 a year in sales. So you have a $500,000 a year business, you're doing a 20% profit margin, and so you're making a $100,000 a year profit in that business. So now you save $25,000 out of the profits from that business, you pay yourself $75,000, which is a very respectable wage, and you decide to take that $25,000, put it as a down payment, and open up another location or territory for that franchise and take out another $75,000 loan. So now you have 2 locations doing $500,000 a year in sales that is now totaling $1 million a year in sales in the business. You're making a 20% profit margin. Now you're making $200,000 a year in profit and income on your 2 franchise locations. Now look, I get it. You might go, wow, that is really oversimplifying it. I want to make it simple in terms of what to actually do, because it's certainly possible and you can do it. Just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy. But again, I'm showing you how you can get rich with franchising. If you want to learn more about how you can actually start doing this, then again, make sure you download that 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. And I can always help you do that too. You can shoot me an email at info@tariqjohnson.com if you're really itching to get involved in franchising or start your own business. But at this point, you're doing $1 million a year in sales, you're making a $200,000 income. Now remember, in the beginning of the video, we said in order to be considered rich, according to that Charles Schwab study, you would need to be making $300,000 a year in income. So we're only $100,000 a year shy. And at this point, $200,000 a year in income, you are in the top 10% of income earners in the United States of America at $200,000 in income. So you're already doing good. You're not classified as rich yet, but you're doing great at that point. All right, so now you're making your $200,000 a year, and you go, hey, I'm gonna go for a 3rd location. So you take $25,000 out of your income, and you put that cash down, decide to open a 3rd location. Now you open that 3rd location. That 3rd location is doing $500,000 a year in sales. But because your other 2 locations have been around for a couple of years, they are both now doing $750,000 a year in sales, because you're a hard worker and you're hiring a great team and you're really putting forth this effort in marketing and focusing on growing your business. And so you were able to grow that business, let's say over a 3-year period, and get them to $750,000 a year in sales. So you have location number 1 doing $750,000 a year in sales, location number 2 doing $750,000 a year in sales, and then location number 3 doing $500,000 a year in sales. So now you have a $2 million business. You have 3 units, 3 locations, or 3 territories doing $2 million a year in sales. And here's something that's important to learn about business, and especially owning franchises. is that as you grow and as you scale, you have some cost efficiencies that occur. Because now, instead of whoever is your manager overseeing one location, and maybe you hired a manager to oversee the second location, well, instead of hiring a separate manager to oversee the third, maybe you have a manager that's overseeing 2 at a time. Or maybe you hire a higher level person who's able to oversee all 3 locations at a time, and you don't have to have as highly skilled managers running each individual location. So there's some cost efficiency. When you do your marketing, maybe you're able to really make your marketing more efficient because now you have 3 other locations. So let's assume you're doing a 25% profit margin now. On $2 million a year in sales, a 25% profit margin, you are now making $500,000 a year in income. Congratulations, you are officially rich. $500,000 a year in income. Guys, that is a lot of money. And now think about what your options become in making $500,000 a year with this business. So now you start to make $500,000 a year in this business. If you're smart, you're saving and investing some of that money. You're buying real estate, you're putting money in retirement plans, you're investing in the stock market. You have all sorts of things that you're doing to continue to build your wealth. But here's where you have to make a key decision. Now, here's the decision. You have your business that's making $500,000 a year. Do you want to continue to grow and scale the business? Or maybe you just go, at this point, I just want to make it a lifestyle business. I'm good making $500,000 a year. I don't want to take any more risk with my business. At this point, your loans are probably paid off. If they're not, get those bad boys paid off because you're making plenty of money to be able to start really paying down those business loans. But now you can sell the business if you want. So you have this business that has multiple locations. It's got multiple units. The way that it works when selling a business or selling a franchise is it generally sells for a multiple of your profit. So what does that mean? So if you're making $500,000 a year in profits and you sell it at a 3 times multiple, $500,000 a year times 3 times equals $1.5 million. So maybe now you sell the business for $1.5 million. Different types of businesses sell for different multiples. Maybe you're able to sell that business for a 5 times multiple. So maybe you sell it for $2.5 million. At this point, you get to figure out what you want to do. You can sell your asset or you can continue to cash flow on that business. Now make sure, guys, if you like this video and you want to start a business or you want to start a franchise, again, make sure you go to my website and get that 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. Again, it's free, there are no gimmicks, and it is absolutely a game changer. I mean, I've had people tell me that they're surprised I don't charge for the blueprint, and it's because I want to help you. I love educating and teaching and sharing this information. And for me, you get to learn from my mistakes that I made when I started to grow and open the franchise locations and then buy the other location. There were a lot of mistakes I made, and this 7-step blueprint, it just makes it super easy so that you can go and do it with whatever it is, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a part-time gig, if you work full-time, even if you're just thinking about owning a business, it's really a great opportunity for you. And the reality is, guys, after 2020, I mean, we know it's been an absolute crazy year. A lot of people have suffered. A lot of businesses have closed. There's a crazy transition of wealth that is happening right now. And it is a great time to start a business. Whether you're starting a side hustle, whether you're deciding to leave your job and go all in, if you wind up getting fired or let go or you quit your job, now is a great time to get involved with owning your own business. In times of struggle, uncertainty is the best time to get into owning your own business. And then maybe at this point you're just, you're sick of having to report to someone or show up to work every day or being told what to do. I get it. I understand. I totally know what it's like. And so if you want some help while you're making that transition or trying to figure out how to start a business, again, reach out to me at info@tariqjohnson.com. Let me know what your business questions are. I do also coach some business owners, a very limited amount because as you can imagine, I'm just crazy busy. So if you do want to apply to work with me directly, I'll leave a link below. You can go to tariqjohnson.com/consulting. Guys, here's the thing. Owning your business and being a successful entrepreneur, it all starts with one thing: belief. It starts with the belief in yourself and your ability that you can go out there and be a successful entrepreneur. If you don't have that belief in yourself and your ability to be a successful entrepreneur, here's what happens. You don't take the action. You consume content like this, you listen to it, you go, oh wow, that sounds great. And just the idea of it gets you excited, and then nothing changes. So here's the thing. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta know if I can do it, if some of these other people can do it. I mean, I've met some business owners out there that are not smart. I mean, some of them are just not smart people. They're all over the place. They don't have their stuff together. It's not knowledge. It's not smarts that translates to being a successful business owner. You have to have that belief in yourself, and you have to have the courage to take action on your ideas and to really go for it. So I urge you to believe in yourself, set your goals, take some actions, and make this year your year. Because I believe in you. I believe in your ability to be an entrepreneur and a successful business owner. Guys, if you liked this video, if you got some value out of it, please make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to subscribe. And I have a ton of other videos on franchise ownership, business ownership, so make sure to check out my other videos as well. And I'll see you on the next one.